What is up? And welcome back to Cryptographics, and welcome on PulseChain to the Age of Unity. This is going to be a very exciting stream. This stream is going to be absolutely killer because we are going to be, or I am going to be unveiling for the first time the launch window, the dates within which Unity will be able to actually launch within in this stream. So you're going to want to stick around for that, and you're going to want to watch this whole stream over as you are going to find out exactly what Unity is, what it's going to do for PulseChain and for PulseX. So let's get right into it. And I am just going to double check. You're having a little bit of issues. There we go. Unity.win now on X is streaming. So less than 30 days before we move. Oh yeah, exactly. There is so much happening with PulseChain right now. It is looking primed. Hex is looking primed. PLSX is looking primed. The whole chain is looking fantastic. And in this stream, we are going to go into why everything changes in less than 30 days. Because when you understand the power of Unity and what that can bring for PulseX and what it can also do for the entire chain of PulseChain, you're going to be pretty bullish, especially because we have a whole lot to talk about in terms of how it actually operates, because we have a version of Unity called Taurus that has already been existing for the last 24 days that has been absolutely crushing it. And I am going to show you everything you need to know that something massive is coming to PulseChain with the launch of Unity. So stay tuned to the end of the stream, because by the end, you're going to know in the next 45 minutes or so the exact dates that Unity can launch within. So let me just welcome everybody in. DJ and Dougie, good to see you here. Less than 30 days before we moon. 30 days, you say? Oh, yes. Less than 30 days. Inside 30 days. And when I tell you the dates, you're going to know that it may or may not be sooner than 30 days. So stay tuned. Now, let's talk about Unity. Let's talk about PulseX. So if you're wondering, because I, at one point, was making content quite regularly on PulseChain, and I decided to go for a little while and continue to make content, but on another ecosystem. I hadn't left the PulseChain community. I hadn't left watching PulseChain. I hadn't left my intention to come back and potentially build if I ever did. And now I am at the point where I have seen the timing of the market. I have seen what PulseChain needs. And I've seen that this system that I've built on Ethereum, as this was my intention from the get-go, is now primed and ready to be launched over on PulseChain. So what is it? Well, Unity is the first of its kind. It is, well, first of its kind on PulseChain. And it's the first of its kind where it is designed to allow you to leverage both higher and lower prices to take advantage of these price points to make the most of your bags and compound in any market, basically requiring you to click one or two buttons, sit back and wait, and then go again. Unity is a compounding monster designed to absolutely destroy the PulseX supply. It is a monster when it comes to supply. It's a monster when it comes to compounding. And it is also a game theory, how do you even say this? It's a game theory fanatics wet dream, for lack of a better term. It is chock full of everything you could ever want, from a simplistic user experience all the way into all the complexities and the game theories. It has everything. So what I'm going to do, if you're watching this right now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a treat here. We are actually going to dive into the Unity dApp. This is a test dApp. Unity is not live, and Unity will only be announced with the official contract addresses and the official website when the time is right. Okay, so let me bring this up, and I am going to give you a sneak peek at the Unity dApp. So let's go. So check this out. So now, if you're familiar with Taurus, which I'll show you in a bit here, because we're going to talk about that. We have a whole lot to bring up in regards to the application of what this system has already done over on Ethereum and how this is going to work for PLSX. So let's go to the dApp here. So as you can see, this is how simple everything is laid out. You've got your earn page, which allows you to create and stake. Creating is best for higher prices, and staking is best when the prices drop a little lower. Now, there are only two other tabs. And in this tab, though, all you need to do is select, do I want to create, which is then to show up with either PLSX or PLS. and then you're going to deposit that into the contract, click create Unity, or you can click stake, which then allows you to stake Unity that you have either created and earned or just purchased on the market. And you're going to deposit a small fee in addition to the Unity that you are going to submit to the contract. Now, you aren't going to get back your PLSX or your PLS, but you are going to get back Unity. And when we get a little further in this stream, you're going to see the power of this system. But this is the basics. And so whichever action you want to take, whether the prices are high or low, all you have to do is come down here, click stake Unity or click create Unity. And then you're going to scroll down a little lower and you're going to be able to see all of your creations or all of your stakes, the penalties, the earned, the end day, the start day, the progress, the shares, the share ownership. You can claim them and you can even share them online. So this dApp was specially designed to be incredibly simple as a host for something that is very sophisticated and quite advanced on the back end without ever having to know that on the front end by looking at it. Now, Unity also has a massive buy and burn, and it also builds its liquidity based on the funds that are coming into the dApp. So of people using PLSX and PLS, as well as when they stake and they deposit PLSX or PLS, those funds are going to be submitted to the system. Now, 84% of the funds, so 80% on every dollar that enters Unity, is sent to the buy and burn. Now, if it's PLS, it is going to be deposited in this side of the contract. If it's PLSX, it's going to be stored over here. And these are two separate buy and burns that can be interacted with and triggered every 10 minutes. Now, the buy and build contract is a liquidity building contract that does the same thing. It just takes 8% of the funds that come in, or 8 cents on every dollar. And if it's PLS, it gets deposited in this contract. And if it's PLSX, it gets deposited over here. And both of these can also be called every 10 minutes. Now, there is also a little bonus that will happen every time PLS is used to actually go into Unity via staking or creating. And this is an immediate buy and burn of PulseX. And this is what I've been saying about why Unity is such an insane machine for PulseX. So for every 4.31 cents on every dollar that comes into the system, if it's in PLS that comes in, that 4 cents goes straight into PLSX. So on the transaction that you are making to create or stake, a bit of that pulse is used to buy and then burn PulseX immediately, as every transaction that happens. Now, if PulseX comes in, just 4.31% of that PulseX that comes in is immediately burned. Now, if we go and we were to check out the stats, which we will do a little bit more shortly, you're going to see how much that's already been effective for the Titan X side and for Taurus over on the Ethereum side, and how much it's burned just based on having slightly less than $1 million come into the protocol. It's been pretty bonkers already. So now you might be asking, okay, well, what are you earning from here? What are you earning from when you're creating or you're staking? And this is simple. You have the Unity pool, which is the central pool that is kind of like a Bitcoin block reward, or maybe like the Hex staking pool. But instead of it having only one door and you can only stake to get into the pool and get your shares or your T shares, you can actually create and do a similar action to like a mining style action. And both the creating and the staking actions both get you shares, which are what the pool is looking at in order to pay out whoever's in the pool. So this allows competing strategies, a very competitive environment, and for you and everyone else to be able to go in and create a myriad of different strategies and different look for different opportunities within the system at any given time based on prices. So currently, if Unity were to launch, because this is not the real price of Unity, this is based on the current price of PulseX at the moment, and the ratio that Unity will start of Unity to PulseX is 100,000 to 1, meaning at launch, if PulseX is the same price as it is now, it is going to be $3.59, which means that market price is what gives these 86,100 tokens this amount of value here. But for the record, this is obviously fast forwarded because this is just for testing purposes. So this is on day 188. On day one, the amount of Unity that will be available will be 100,000 and will decrease by 0.08% daily. Okay, so Let me summarize this a little bit for you here, because we've gone a few different directions and we've talked about, a lot of the different moving parts here. The basis of Unity, the easiest way to think about Unity is like, imagine if you could stake your Bitcoin to compete with the Bitcoin miners at any time. What would that do to the Bitcoin price? What would that do to demand for Bitcoin? And what if Bitcoin also had a buy and burn, so that anytime someone staked or was mining, some of that economic energy that was utilized to come in and mine or stake was actually used to buy up and burn, creating a very, very, very scarce token. That, in a nutshell, is Unity. Unity also has a capped final supply of less than 125 million tokens. So it is capped. It is not ever expanding. And in fact, because it is capped, there's been some really interesting stuff we've been seeing with the Taurus protocol and how it's been operating. So I'm going to go over now and I'm going to show you some stuff with Taurus. I'm going to show you the dApp first here, just so you can see a real world example of exactly how this protocol is operating. So I'm going to bring up Taurus now. So again, Taurus is over on Ethereum. And what I would recommend is, because I'm going to tell you the exact dates for when Unity is going to launch by the end of the stream. And I highly recommend at least going and checking out Taurus, going and checking out the stats, going and seeing how the thing is operating, and maybe even playing around with it and trying it out a little bit with a small amount of funds, just to see exactly how it works. Because when you see an ROI like 14,200 or 224.9%, this is a real estimated ROI. This is not a testnet ROI. And in fact, I've done a creation on day one just to test out the system and make sure that transactions, of course, for my, my paranoia's sake, when I first launched this protocol, were actually working. And the current ROI is 4,400% currently. Now we are on day 24 of 88, and we are already at 4,410%. So these ROIs are looking more and more real by the day. The daily ROI at the moment has been sitting around 161% ROI. That's also because the price of Taurus is currently $9.27. So it's actually skyrocketed. We got to talk about that as well and why. But because I want you to just be seeing how this is operating here, I want you to know that these ROIs are, or these estimated ROIs are actually what is in the living dApp at the moment. And there's been $1 million that's come through this protocol. And this is what the current estimated ROIs are for creating and staking as of right now in Taurus. But the more important thing is to go and look at the stats for Taurus. Now, as of an hour ago, Taurus has about $960,000 that has gone through it so far. It's got, well, this is going to be a little bit lower in a day or two, as I have to get the this number updated and how it was read. This is about 83, I would assume, around 80, 83 ETH. I'll talk more about how much Titanx was deposited and how much has been burned, because it's relevant to PulseX and how much it has burned. Now, this is where things get interesting when we look at the future max supply. So in the first 88 days of Taurus and the first 88 days of Unity, because they're both systemically like identical, there is 8.5 million tokens that are up for grabs that can be basically earned by having shares via staking or creating over the next 88 days. And you can do between 1 and 88 day stakes or creations, but 88 days is the max. So I want to tell you a short story about why this is just so magical to take a look at and understand. Now, typically what happens is in certain protocols, there is a supply distribution style where, when people go into the protocol, let's say there's, in this case, it's day 89. Day 89 will only get bigger and bigger and bigger and scarier and scarier and scarier, meaning there's more and more and more tokens coming out every single day on this day. Now, this is where Taurus and Unity really separate themselves from the pack. On day one, this number here on day 89 was 8.5 million expected to come out, 8.5 million tokens expected to come out on day 89. By day 3, this had already lowered to 4.7 million. Fast forward to today, we are 24 days into the protocol, and we've dropped from 8.5 million tokens expected to come out on day 89 all the way down to 1.83 million tokens expected on day 89. And we still have 64 days to go for this to go lower and lower and lower and lower. I am personally expecting this to be somewhere around the million mark by that day. And all of these other days, like if we go to day 100, 101, 102, these just a few days ago were into the 500, 600,000 tokens expected to come out. And now this day has lowered to 200,000, 224,000, 258,000, and so on. And this is because the way that Taurus and both Unity work is when you create or stake on a given day, right? And someone comes in and let's say you had 100%, you're the only person in the protocol, right? The next person that comes in is now also in the protocol, and they can have a share as well. So if there's 100 tokens that you were going to earn, and this person has now come in, taken 50% of the pool, now your share is cut in half. And people coming in after you on, say, the next day are doing that same effect. So they're taking from the future potential, but they're also, when they take that supply out, they are deferring it into the future for when their claim is done. And this creates this massive, like almost, it's like a disinflation effect on the daily claimable amount of tokens, which is really special. And it is completely abnormal compared to what we are used to seeing for token supply models. And a secondary thing that I have personally seen, and that if you go into the Taurus Telegram group, you will see, is that the competitive nature of the system is very real, in that it is very hard to keep your share of the pool. You are constantly watching your share ownership of the pool go down. And a lot of people are adding daily just to be able to keep their share of the pool up and earn consistently over the course of up to 88 days while they're in the system. So we've gone fairly deep on Unity, and I'm going to pause here and just check in on the questions. So let me just take a quick look. And let's go to YouTube notifications. Summon me to the stream. Didn't know there was one. Hey, that's perfect, man. I'm glad you had your notifications on. Another 5. You are the man, Foxy. You are the man. Thank you. And congrats to everyone that's in the chat that just got another 5 gifted memberships, or one of the 5 gifted memberships. Man, I appreciate you. Thank you, man. And so definitely drop a thank you in the chat if you just had a gifted membership your way. Triplet Dad, good to see you in here. Sounds pretty awesome. Man, we got a whole lot to talk about. I would love to have a conversation. I know we talked, I think, oh, man, a little bit like months ago. Oh, how long ago was that? That was quite a while ago. We were in Spaces. But I would love to hop in Spaces again, get on stream, dive into this, because this is going to be something that PulseChain has never seen before, and PulseChain is not ready for how powerful this is going to be. Now, let's go back to Taurus for a sec, because the only thing I can do right now in terms of showcasing what Unity can do for PulseChain is to showcase Taurus, because it's the real living, breathing firstborn of this system. So let's go and take a look at Taurus at the moment. And the big thing that I want to highlight here is there's 2. One, let's talk about TitanX for a moment. So it doesn't matter if you like TitanX or not, if you're in the PulseChain community. What's relevant here for you to understand is the context of what the funds are that you're going to be looking at here, and why they're important to understand, given how much there is coming into Taurus. So at the moment, TitanX has a relatively small community, strong community, but a small community. And it's been a little bit stagnant over the last while. And, there has been just, it's been a little bit slower within the community and within the ecosystem, I should say. And even despite that, there hasn't been ETH coming in for really many other protocols. ETH has not been something that the ecosystem has seen too much of for the last little while. Aside from the reserves, that is like 5,400 ETH sitting in the TitanX ecosystem, but that's been from a long while back. And so what's important to understand is, if you look at this protocol and you look at what it has in reserves, it has 14, 21, 35, 70 ETH sitting in this protocol that was not that was not in the TitanX ecosystem prior. And if you actually go and you track the transactions, you'll see that some of this TitanX that's in here too is actually from people coming into the system or coming into the ecosystem, buying TitanX, and then coming into Taurus that were never in the ecosystem. They're coming fresh wallet from like an exchange, and they're coming in direct. So this has been a wonderful thing to see, that people that are learning about this may not actually know or like TitanX, or have any desire to be in it, but they're coming into Taurus. And so what I'm saying here is this is pulling fresh capital, fresh ETH. And so far there is 120, 75, and another 50. So we're basically looking at $250,000. So 25% of the total funds that have come in for Taurus have been new funds, not funds that have been in the ecosystem that are just, doing the recycling kind of thing. This is 25% of the people that are coming in, or 25% of the economic energy coming into Taurus, at least, because these numbers don't reflect people buying and then coming into Creator Stake. But at least 25% of the funds coming into Taurus has been fresh capital flowing into the ecosystem. Now, this is the power of what Taurus is doing, given where it is, given Titan, the ecosystem of TitanX, what it's been up against, what the community size is, how many streamers there are for TitanX. Like, the marketing side for TitanX is very different than PulseChain. PulseChain is a massive community, has many, many streamers that are very loud, and many people have the capacity to really draw attention to something when it is great and bring in potentially a lot more economic energy. So if Taurus is bringing 25% of the economic energy in with fresh ETH, imagine what Unity can do for PulseChain. Now, another thing that I want to show you here is the amount of, now, just let's pause here actually. This is a real payout that's happening today. So on day 25, there's 98,112 Taurus being paid out to creators and stakers that are competing for the supply. And based on their share, they're going to get a portion of $910,000 today. Now, this has been happening basically every day for the last 24 days. And this is because the market price of Taurus is so high. And we're going to get to this shortly, because when you see the chart, not the price chart, because the price chart has, well, the USD chart is still great. However, when you look at the TitanX to Taurus chart, this is where things really take off, when you understand how it's doing against the thing it's paired with. So let's go down here, and we'll come back up to the burn stats here in a moment. But what I really want to focus on is this, the total TitanX burned. So this right here is massive. I'm going to bring up the TitanX stats page because I want to show you just how quickly that this thing is burning and taking in TitanX. So in the TitanX ecosystem, this Taurus has brought in the 6th most TitanX of any protocol in just 24 days, which means it had the 6th most participation of any protocol in just 26 days or 24 days. Now, of the amount that is burned, it's in the top, I believe it is looking to take over the 12th spot. Right now, Taurus is sitting at number 13, and it is looking like it wants to take over Morph, which is a meme coin and a system built by Brandon Davis, Rags to Riches. And this is climbing in 24 days to almost overtake it. And we have surpassed over 40 other, or over almost 30 protocols now ahead of it. And this is just in 24 days with just under $1 million coming into the system, right? So this is just me trying to make you understand relative to what TitanX is and what this ecosystem has done. This is what Taurus has been able to do, given the context of where we are in time, what the lay of the land is, right? So now that we know that, so if we were to look at 200 billion TitanX, you might be asking, how much is that worth? Well, that's worth about 40 some odd $1,000, roughly speaking. At the moment, actually, if we were to look at the price, it's just shy of $40,000, $36,000, $37,000. So in 24 days, $36 extra $1,000 on just $1 million coming into the system, or less than $1 million coming into the system. That's not bad. It's not bad at all. So let's go look at the price chart for Taurus now, because I want to showcase, and I'm going to show you the USD price first here when I share the screen. So this is the USD price. Now, when you look at this, this is making a little W here. It looks quite strong. I mean, this was a stairway to heaven on the first 4 days, and it's continued to hold up very strong. But this isn't the whole story, because you could say, I don't really know what's going on here. But let's go to the actual ratio that can let us see what Taurus is doing against TitanX. And this is where the real magic is shown. So this down here at about 10 million to 1 is the ratio where Taurus creation ROI becomes less than the staking ROI, giving the incentive for people in the system to not sell, not compound, but to go back into the system via staking and to lock up their tokens for another 88 days and keep earning in the system. But currently, we are about 5 times higher than that point. This chart has gone up and up and up and up and up. And the story of this has actually been majority from people that have been buying to stake. Now, if we go back to the DApp, I want to just hit this home for a second here, because this has been the story of Taurus from basically the get-go, where look at these two ROIs. You've got the creation ROI, that's 14,000, and you have the staking ROI, that's 2,700. These ROIs were relatively similar in terms of their difference between them. And even though the creation ROI is so high, people were still coming in and staking, buying on the market and staking. And for the record, you know, if you had, if you were to come in here and, you know, spend 185 bucks, right? You basically would come in here with 20 Taurus, which is worth 185 bucks, and you'd pay $1.85 fee, and you could potentially earn up to 552 Taurus. That's pretty great. But check this out. We're going to go over to create, and I want you to watch just how different the amount of Taurus and the potential earnings are with the creation side. So again, but with 10 million Titan X. So let's do, so basically create with, or sorry, hold on. We're going to go one more here. And we're going to do this to 200. 100 and so basically for $36. Hold on, let me go back here. So if you deposit 10 million Titan X, you're going to create 0.98. If you go to $36 worth of Titan X, you're now going to create the same amount of Taurus that you were just going to spend for about 200 bucks to stake. If we add a 0 here, or we even go up to 500, which is now only $90, you're creating 49. If we go all the way up to basically $181 deposited in Titan X, you're now creating 98.1 Taurus. It's 5 times more than you were creating, or that you were able to get on the market and stake. And you're also going to earn a ton more. And even despite this, people have still wanted to come in, buy on the market, and stake. Now, there are many reasons for that, but this has been a huge proof of concept to show that regardless of what the creation ROI is showing and what creation is doing, the staking mechanic is bringing in demand for this protocol. And that makes me super bullish on the future of Unity. So I'm going to pause there and see if anyone else is chiming in. And okay, bye, Mark. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, no, guys, don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it. It's sad to see people that are just being like that, which is fair. Hey, it's all good, man. So don't even worry about it, guys. Let's see here. What else do I have in here? Yeah, this is a deflationary with perpetual liquidity growth and buy and burns. Read the white paper before you make such accusations. Hey, this is why we delete comments and we move on, because if a closed mind, if you're going to have a closed mind, then so is the conversation. It's kind of the way I'm going to operate. You know, if you have an open mind and you have a question, we'll chat. But if you only just want to come and make a statement, I mean, that was never a conversation to begin with. So later. So the point here, guys, is that Taurus has been doing fantastic. It's been a proof of concept. It's been absolutely crushing it from day one, and really surprising me big time on many, many, many fronts. And now if we come back to Unity, I really do think that PulseChain is going to love this. And I think that this is going to turn a lot of heads and get a lot of participation. So for every $1 million that comes into the protocol, there's $43,100 is going to be burned. Now, if you were to see $1 million in volume on the DEX of PulseX, well, you're going to see $6,000 that is burnt of bought and burnt of PulseX. So this is like nearly 20 times higher burn rate with every single transaction that comes into Unity. And the biggest thing to understand here is that you cannot participate in Unity without depositing a little bit of PulseX or Pulse, which means every time someone participates in this protocol, PulseX gets burnt. PulseX is a finite supply. So what happens when you have a system that is causing people to want to come in consistently? It's forcing demand into PulseX. Simultaneously, it's constricting the supply. Well, you do the math. This is a perpetual protocol. It's designed to work off into the sunset, 20, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years down the road, and is perpetual. It doesn't stop. So this will forever burn, forever pull in PulseX and Pulse. So I hope this is starting to make sense for you, because when it clicks, when you have that holy shit moment, it all comes together, you're going to be bullish as hell for Unity. And I can't wait to announce very shortly here exactly when the launch window is. First here, interested to know your thoughts on the next 88-day cycle playing out. How do you think users will react? Let's see here. In Taurus or Unity? I'll wait for you to answer that one. Let's see here. If they're smart, they will at least 50-50 to keep the earnings going. Let's see here. Yeah, I need a little bit of answers here. So how do you see the next 88-day cycle on Taurus? Okay. Yeah. Live stream unclear. Have PLSX to set aside for Unity. That's the only thing that matters. Gotcha. Okay. Taurus. Gotcha. How do I see the next 88-day cycle playing out? How do you think users will react? Well, the yields are going to get cut significantly if even a large chunk of the Taurus supply actually gets restaked again. And that's going to create a very different dynamic and I think gamification. People are going to value the system differently, because right now there's huge ROIs, and this will be the same for Unity. Unity is probably going to have massive ROIs initially. And as that first round of 88-day creations comes out and people start staking, well, those ROIs are going to go down significantly, but they're still going to be huge. Like even 100% ROI in 88 days, if you annualize that, that's 400% a year. And that's on PulseX. That's in PulseX terms, right? So that's huge. The next 88-day cycle, though, will be, I think it's just going to grow. It's just going to make the system more powerful. As more tokens come in or come out and more tokens can be staked, more Titan-X, more ETH can be drawn in. And in the case of Unity, the same will be, but for PLS and PLSX. So more PLSX can be drawn in, more PLS can be drawn in. And it just makes the system more and more powerful. Now, if I believe the majority of the tokens that are going to come out around day 100 or 100 before 110 get staked, you can see an extra 5 trillion Titan-X get pulled into Taurus, pulled into Taurus just for staking alone, assuming they get staked for the max of 88 days. And these kind of effects are going to have the same implications for Unity. And I really want you guys to understand this, all 151 of you, that Unity is going to catch people off guard. If they're smart, they'll at least 50-50 to keep the earnings going. Well, you can think of this like the forever dangling carrot, right? If you're coming back to the protocol every single day and you can see that there's always something to earn, I mean, that's hard to turn down. It's a forever dangling carrot for a reason. It's by design. So yeah, no sweat at all. See it like a seesaw between staking and creating. There's no mining in Unity. There's no mining in Taurus. And I'm going to slowly work you guys out of saying mining, but I know what you mean. It is like a seesaw. And let's go back to the chart for a second, because I want to show exactly how this system will likely operate over time. So like I said, now Unity is going to have the same thing, but this crossover point is going to be at 100,000 to 1 instead of 10 million to 1, specifically for PulseX. Now, over time, let's say at some point, this price is going to drop below 10 million to 1, right? It's going to happen at some point. Now, as that happens, there is going to be like a seesaw effect that Damien was talking about, where now people are incentivized in this area here to stop selling and stake in the system. Simultaneously, the buy and burn, is made to be able to access and to hold and help the price in here and get tokens for cheap. And the buy and build will likely want to build liquidity around this area as well, because this is where the system operates smoothest. So over time, what you'll see likely, it's to some degree, right, is a sine wave that will be forming over this ratio, where it'll correct down and it'll go up and it'll come down and it'll go up again. And we'll have this cycle basically where we go up and down over time, and it'll oscillate over top of this ratio as the days, weeks, months, and years go by. Now, the other cool thing is that this ratio actually goes up over time. That is part of the difficulty measure. So what is actually going to happen here is we're going to see effectively, I'm just going to put this here, we're going to see a very slow sine wave increase like this over time, where it's going to slowly go above this ratio, below the ratio, above the ratio, below the ratio. And over time, it's going to tighten and become very, very mature and what's the word for it? Stable, right? With the liquidity building contract that's dedicated to pushing funds in every 10 minutes with the buy and burn, and with also the incentive for users to also provide liquidity, because this protocol will operate within a tighter range, not a full range, right, relative to PulseX, then this is a liquidity provider's dream. It really is. So I would recommend everyone really pay attention, get to know the tokenomics, get to know the system, and really get excited for the age of Unity on PulseChain. I know I am. I cannot wait to have this thing out soon. I can't even wait to announce in a few minutes here exactly when that launch date is going to be. And we are so close. So let me just double check with the chat here, make sure I'm not missing anything. Probably going to go under the radar if whole chain is pumping, to be honest. Well, we'll see, because, I have a lot of friends in PulseChain, and I don't think that this thing is going to go too far under the radar. Maybe it does a little bit, but when everything's pumping, there's, things can still shine, right? And if people are getting 100, 200, 300, 400%, 500% ROI on their PulseX, I mean, people are going to talk about that, right? You're telling me that if people are getting somewhere between 100 and 2,000% ROI on their PulseX, which is also pumping, that they're not going to talk about it, make some noise? I think that's also perfect time. If Unity can launch just before, then perfect. If it launches when everything is pumping, perfect. I'm not worried about it. I know that this system has already been proving itself over on the Ethereum side, and it will only be a matter of time before Unity does the same thing over on PulseChain. So type 100 Nick, let's go. Welcome. Good to see you here. Robert Online, good to see you as well. These are two names I haven't seen before, so this is fantastic. Yeah, if this burns PLSX like TitanX, it definitely will not be under the radar. This is going to be one of, if not the biggest burner on chain for PulseX. And I say that like bar none. Like the PulseX buy and burn on PulseX version 1, when the volume is cooking, I mean, here's the thing, dollar for dollar, there is no protocol that burns more PulseX at the scale that it will as time goes on as well. There's literally not enough PulseX in existence. There's literally not. And so you're going to see a whole ton of talk around PulseX getting burned, and people are going to be wondering where it's coming from. And then they're going to see it's Unity. They're going to be going to the DApp. They're going to see all the ROIs. It is going to be awesome. I really can't wait. People are always chasing yield. Won't stop even if things are pumping. Exactly. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. It's funny. The more I've seen pictures of myself without a beard, the more I'm like, yeah, this is staying. This is just a part of me now. I love the beard too much. The sage beard. Yeah, there it is. Hopefully there's a little bit of wisdom tucked in here. You can never tell some days. But hey, summon RH. You know what? We'll see. Because if you're trying to figure out what Unity is, I learned a lot from Hex. I learned a lot from Hedron. I learned a lot from Icosa. I learned a lot from PulseX. I learned a lot from TitanX. I learned a lot from Bitcoin. And this is the first time where everything that has come out under the sun that has been successful and has been very, very innovative has been harmonized in the way that it has. So it's quite an extreme system. It's more extreme in terms of its delay gratification than Hex, not more powerful than the T-share. It's different. It's not what I'm implying at all, but it is just more aggressive. It is more extreme in terms of what's required to delay gratification to really see that same 15-year, 10-year, 5-year benefit that you can see in Hex for just clicking a button and waiting. It's just different. And because it's built on PulseX, it can have dramatic effects for everything else on PulseChain if it actually is able to do what I've designed it to do, which is drive demand into PulseChain while simultaneously driving up the scarcity of PulseX and creating like this crazy feedback loop, right? Which it's what it's designed to do. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but we will see in time because Taurus is already doing way better than I anticipated it doing. And I was hoping for something pretty well, or I was hoping for it to do pretty well, and it's just blown me away. So Q-Baller, hey man, pumped for Unity. Let's go, Steve. Thank you, man. I am pumped to have you here. I'm pumped for Unity. We are very close. And in fact, I don't know if I have this written anywhere, but I'm just going to say it because let's go to the Unity dApp. Hold on. Hold on. We're going to bring up Unity here. I'm going to give you guys what you came for. We're going to talk about the launch date, or the launch window, I should say, for Unity. All right. You guys ready? I don't know. Do you guys actually want to know the launch date? Let me just check. If you do, just say something in the chat. I don't know. Show some hype. Let me know that you're excited. I'm going to wait for you guys. Because if no one's excited, no one wants to know. I won't say anything. I'll wait. Sorry. No, I'm not gonna do that to you guys, of course. Yeah, there we go. All right. Cool. So you guys are awesome. Thanks for humoring me. That was pretty lame. Oh man. But all right. So I told you guys that it was going to launch within 30 days. Unity is going to launch between August 18th and August 20th. So you have between 15 and 18 days to get ready, to get educated, to prepare your strategies for Unity. You have 15 to 18 days. That's it. And then we go live. So if you haven't already hopped into the Unity Telegram or the Taurus Telegram, if you want to learn about that too, t.me/TorusWin, t.me/UnityWin. All of the links are in the description here for YouTube. And of course, X doesn't have descriptions. So I guess you'll have to go to YouTube or go follow at unity.win on X or at TorusWin on X as well. If you also just go to my profile on X at Cryptographics, you're going to see the links to Unity and Taurus, which you can then go to and join the Telegrams from the X bios there. So who's excited? Welcome to the age of Unity on PulseChain. It's coming, and it is coming for your PulseX in a good way. So yeah, exactly. Please don't actually do this. I wouldn't recommend it. You know, you can do whatever you want, but I wouldn't recommend that. Me too, my friend. Me too. Me too. Oh man, good to see you here, Kirill. PTGC space. Yeah, 2.5 more weeks. We're basically there. Hey, I mean, if Unity does half of what I think it can do, you can buy her back and have some change left over. I don't know. I don't recommend this. Not at all. Oh, you guys are funny. So that being said, I'm going to open up the floor to you guys. If you have any questions about Unity, if you want to know anything else about the game theory, about the way it works, anything in the white paper, now's your chance. I'm going to leave the floor open for the next 5 or so minutes, and then we're going to shut it down, and we will get ready for another stream or video very soon. They're going to be making a whole lot more content on Unity. I'm going to be making a whole lot more content on Taurus. So definitely keep your eyes peeled. Make sure you're following unity.win on X, Taurus Win, and myself all on X, as well as you guys are terrible. I'm not even bringing up those comments. Don't encourage this. Oh, you guys are funny. But make sure you're following all that. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. And yeah, welcome to the Age of Unity on PulseChain. It's going to be an absolute blast, you guys. And I'm very thankful that all 187 of you are watching. This is going to be one for the ages. So I'll give it another couple of moments here. And if no one else has any questions, then what I will do is I'll shut this down and we will call it for now. Let's see here. Well, I'm going to leave you guys to have your funky conversation. And I'm going to shut this stream down. So, and actually, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to quickly, I'm going to do something else here so I can change. Let me just remove this. I'm going to bring in the, I'm going to have to change these out every stream, which is going to be a bit of a pain. But let me just, actually, let me just change this one second. I want to get the proper outro video here. Hold on. I need the proper outro video. Unity. Cool. Okay, one sec. Let me just put the outro video, then we can play it. Let's go to, let's delete this one. How do I delete these? Oh, I see. I have to add this. Okay, cool. One sec, guys. This is hilarious. I'm putting in so much work just to get this done live on stream here. It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. It's like an 8-second video. It just looks cool when we end. So I'm just going to do that anyways. If it loads. Yeah, there it is. Boom. Okay. All right. Ciao, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And welcome to the age of Taurus on Ethereum and Unity on PulseChain. We'll see you guys soon in the next one. Peace.